It was January 14th, 2025. Russian firefighters had been locked in a brutal battle, struggling for 6 days to contain a blaze engulfing one of the country's largest fuel depots. The last flames were finally beginning to give in, but just as the dark plumes of smoke started to fade out, a new menace drew on the horizon. Russian soldiers looked up and froze. A new swarm of Ukrainian drones was incoming, heading right toward the base and sending troops scrambling for cover. The drones slammed in, triggering a new set of explosions and inflicting further damage to the already crippled bomber site. Still, Putin's nightmare was just getting started. Ukraine's Center for Strategic Communication warned, quote, "There will be no rest for the wicked." And they meant it. Putin unleashed. In the early hours of August 5th, 2024, civilians across Ukraine were jolted from their sleep as air raid sirens across multiple cities announced an incoming wave of over 100 Russian missiles, accompanied by attack drones ready to strike. Explosions tore through city blocks from Kyiv to Kharkiv, leveling homes, injuring civilians, and igniting fires that kept on burning long past dawn. President Vladimir Zelensky condemned the violence of the strikes, stating, quote, "Like most previous Russian strikes, this one was just as vile, targeting critical civilian infrastructure." It was considered one of the most savage and coordinated assaults Russia had launched in the year, but Vladimir Putin showed no remorse. By early 2025, as the war neared its 4th year, the Russian president sent a clear message to Zelensky upon dispatching a fresh round of hypersonic Kh-47M2 Kinzhal missiles to Ukraine, streaking through the atmosphere at Mach 10. Across Ukraine, people scrambled for shelter, filling up subway stations used as impromptu bunkers. But the strikes came in so fast that not everyone had a chance to reach safety. The strikes injured over 100 individuals and claimed the lives of 4, adding to the toll of a war that has already resulted in the loss of approximately 160,000 civilians. On March 11th, Ukraine agreed to a full 30-day ceasefire, a considerable concession given the daily toll of lost lives and destruction. Yet Russia spurned the offer, making it clear that if Putin can't secure political dominance, territorial concessions, and the weakening of Ukraine's sovereignty, missiles will keep on coming. It's estimated that in 2025 alone, Russia's war machine plans to produce an approximate total of 560 Kh-101 cruise missiles and 750 9M723 Iskander ballistic missiles, each with a range of over 300 miles and the necessary payload to reduce city blocks to rubble. Still, Ukraine is not surrendering. A costly hit. In the aftermath of Russia's Kinzhal hypersonic missile assault, Ukraine delivered a reply set to leave a scar deep inside Russian territory. A fleet of Ukrainian long-range drones infiltrated Russian territory, weaving across 400 miles of hostile airspace until they reached their target, a massive fuel depot near the Engels Air Base, a strategic stronghold west of Russia that houses some of the Kremlin's most lethal bombers. The drones struck before aerial defenses could neutralize them. Russians were still trying to figure out what hit them by the time flames had begun engulfing the facility, turning hundreds of thousands of tons of fuel into a blaze so intense that firefighters were unable to contain it for nearly a week. Ukraine barely gave Russians time to breathe, and just as they had finished putting out the fire, before they could even fully assess the damage of the strike, a second wave of Ukrainian drones descended on them, delivering another blow to the site, which was then followed by yet another hit less than 10 weeks later, delivering one of the most financially damaging attacks Russia has suffered since the war began. The third attack took place on March 20th. This time, Ukrainian drones targeted a munitions storage facility housing 96 Kh-101 cruise missiles, each one with a price tag of around $10 million. With a single strike, Ukraine managed to wipe out nearly $960 million in advanced Russian munitions, which, paired with additional damage to infrastructure and fuel reserves, is estimated to have racked up a total loss of up to $1 billion. Satellite images from the aftermath show the impact of the strike, with craters now spreading where fortified bunkers once sat. The destruction was so drastic that Russian officials publicly acknowledged the operation, calling it, quote, "the most massive UAV attack of all time in the area." The impact of this series of strikes has been so severe for Russia that, according to recent reports, the nation has begun relocating its bombers from Engels deeper into its territory, attempting to shield them from further attacks. But even as Ukraine scores these strategic victories, its leaders know this won't be enough to stop Putin's war machine. If Kyiv wants to permanently derail future missile hits on its cities, it will have to escalate its strike campaign even further. Going far. Standing in the way of Ukraine's ability to execute an extensive long-range strike campaign is a bloc of Western allies who remain reluctant to permit the use of foreign-supplied long-range missiles against targets inside Russia. Afraid that Vladimir Putin will make good on the promise he made last year when he declared that enabling Ukrainian strikes deep into Russian territory would, quote, mean that NATO countries are at war with Russia, changing the essence of the conflict and making the country take appropriate decisions in response. However, Ukraine has decided that if the West won't provide the tools for battle, the country will build them. In a recent address, President Volodymyr Zelensky proudly declared, quote, Long Neptune has been tested and successfully used in combat, a new Ukrainian missile. This weapon is a re-engineered variant of the Neptune cruise missile, already famous for its role in sinking Moskva, the crown jewel of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which, upon being hit by two Neptunes, was engulfed in fire that spread to her ammunition hold, causing a blast that sent the warship to the sea floor. It was Russia's largest combat naval loss since World War II. Now, armed with an extended range of 620 miles, Long Neptune promises to replicate that success by penetrating far beyond the front lines. According to certain sources, the first operational Long Neptune was already used in a precision strike on a critical facility in Tuapse, a coastal Russian town that sits just 60 miles from President Putin's Gelendzhik Palace. But Ukraine isn't stopping at conventional missiles, as officials have unveiled a plan to deploy over 30,000 long-range attack drones by the end of 2025. This arsenal is believed to include the newly introduced Peklo drone missiles, cost-effective weapons said to rival Russian cruise missiles in capability, able to carry out high-precision strikes at speeds exceeding 430 miles per hour. A new strategy. Still, simply adding more long-range weapons to Ukraine's arsenal may not be enough to stop Putin's advance. Military experts have warned that despite the tactical success of Ukraine's strikes on the Engels airbase, Russia is likely capable of restoring the damaged site and restarting missile production faster than Ukraine can follow up with another hit. Aware of this challenge, Ukraine seems to be recalibrating its approach, and instead of focusing exclusively on military installations, the country is now using its expanding fleet of long-range drones and missiles to target Russia's oil and gas sector in an effort to disrupt Putin's war at its core. Earlier this year, Ukrainian drones snuck into Russian territory to strike the Volgograd refinery, which is responsible for nearly 6% of the country's oil output. Just days later, a natural gas plant in Astrakhan, nearly 500 miles from Ukraine's border, was also hit. The shock was immediately felt by Russians, with multiple airports across the nation suspending operations as airspace over vast regions was temporarily shut down. According to recent estimates, Ukraine's air campaign has already disabled around 10% of Russia's refining capacity. If this trend continues, it could make the weight of the war begin to harm Putin's plans, crippling the economy, breaking military logistics chains, and fueling domestic unrest in a population that, until now, has largely been insulated from the war. Still, Ukraine is well aware that Russia will not take this lying down. Putin's revenge. Shortly after Ukraine's third strike on the Engels airbase, Putin got his revenge, unleashing a round of 23 missiles and 109 drones aimed at civilian targets across multiple Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv. However, Ukraine has become sharper in its defense, and the Air Force managed to intercept multiple Russian cruise missiles, as well as shoot down one of the high-speed Iskander-M ballistic missiles. Of the 109 drones swarming over Ukrainian skies, 40 were destroyed before reaching their targets. Still, one civilian lost their life, and 3 more were injured. Though far from Russia's most lethal strike, the attack reaffirmed that no matter how much Ukraine progresses in its war effort, or the amount of international pressure Russia faces, Putin will keep on prolonging the war no matter the cost. But Ukraine is just as unyielding. Standing against the Kremlin's forces, President Zelensky remains firm in his conviction to fight for his nation's survival, and during a recent address to his nation, he made clear that Ukraine will not be broken, and that instead it will only keep growing stronger, declaring, quote, "Ukraine is once again building its own missiles, forcing the enemy to learn Ukrainian, making them tremble at the words Neptune and Sapsan. All these are our missiles. Her, Vampire, Calibri, Kamek, Yuchi, Heavy Shot, Firepoint. All these are our drones, and all these are our arguments, the arguments for a just peace."